You are outside, maybe filling the bird feeder, maybe just sitting on the porch with your morning tea when you notice it. A squirrel, perfectly still on the fence post, looking directly at you. Not a quick glance, not a startled head turn, a long, deliberate, unblinking stare. 5 seconds, 10 seconds, sometimes longer. And for a moment you wonder, what is she actually thinking? That moment has happened to millions of people, and almost nobody knows the real answer. Today we're going to explore why a squirrel holds that long, steady gaze on a human, and by the end you may never look at your backyard the same way again. Here is something remarkable that most people do not realize. When a squirrel looks at you, she is not seeing a random person. She is checking whether you are the same specific human she saw yesterday. Researchers studying urban gray squirrels have found that they can distinguish between individual people by the way they move, the color of their clothing, and their overall body shape. That long stare is her running a comparison, matching the version of you standing in front of her with the memory she already has stored. If you check out, she relaxes. If something feels off, she disappears into the nearest tree. That look is the moment the match is confirmed. Every second a squirrel spends watching you is a second she is not eating, not storing food, and not watching for hawks. Wild animals do not waste their attention, so when she chooses to spend 10 seconds looking at you, something important is happening inside her nervous system. Animal behavior researchers call it a risk assessment pause. She is reading everything at once, the direction of your eyes, whether your hands are moving, and how your shoulders are positioned. She is asking one question: is this going to turn dangerous? If you stay calm and loose, the answer comes back no, and she returns to her business. If you tense up or move suddenly, the calculation tips the other way. This is where it gets genuinely surprising. Squirrels who have spent months or years around the same humans do not just recognize who you are. They learn how you normally are, and they notice when today is different. Studies in long-term wildlife-human interaction show that wild animals near human spaces develop what researchers call affective discrimination, the ability to tell the difference between a calm human and a tense one. If you have ever felt that your backyard squirrel seems to know when you are having a rough day, you are not imagining it. She does not understand the word stressed, but she has memorized the shape of you on a normal morning. And when that shape changes, the long look gets longer. Once a squirrel has been fed regularly by a particular human, something shifts in how she interacts with that person. Instead of vocalizing or approaching, she develops a more sophisticated strategy. She positions herself where she can be seen clearly, and she waits. That waiting gaze is her version of a question. Are you going to scatter some seeds today or not? Researchers have documented habituated squirrels holding still for 30 seconds or more, watching a specific person until that person either moves toward the food source or moves away. She is not begging, she is communicating quietly and patiently in the only way she has available, and she has learned that this method works with you specifically. Squirrels are continuously scanning their environment. Every few seconds they are checking for changes, movement, sound, anything that does not belong. When a squirrel has spent enough time in a yard, she builds a mental map of everything in it. The oak tree, the fence, the bird feeder, the shed, and eventually, if a human has been present, consistent and non-threatening, that human gets added to the map. The long look in this case is not suspicious or cautious, it is simply routine. She is checking that everything in her territory is where it should be, and that includes you. Being included in that scan without alarm is one of the quietest and most genuine signs of trust a wild animal can offer. You belong in her world. This next reason changes the whole picture. Squirrels communicate with each other through tail movements, ear positions, and yes, sustained eye contact. It is an active part of their social language. Researchers have found that squirrels living in urban environments sometimes extend that same signaling behavior toward the humans they know. The long look in those cases is not passive watching. It is directed communication. The exact message depends on her posture. Ears forward and tail still mean she is at ease and simply acknowledging you. Tail twitching and body low means she is nervous or warning about something nearby. She is talking. The language is made of held attention and body position, and if you know what to look for, you can start to read it back. Here is the most unexpected reason on the list. Sometimes the long look has nothing to do with you at all. Research into stress regulation in small mammals has shown that visual fixation, locking eyes on a specific point, is a known self-soothing behavior. When something mildly startling happens, A squirrel will sometimes freeze and stare at the source of the surprise, while her own nervous system slows back down. She is not deciding anything about you. She is using the act of watching to regulate her own breathing and heart rate. That very long, very still stare after you opened the back door unexpectedly was her waiting for her body to remember it was safe. And once it did, she moved on after all the science, the identification, the risk calculations, the mood reading, and the communication. There is one final reason, and it is the one that matters the most. She knows you, not the way a dog knows you, not the way a person knows you, but in the quiet, accumulated way that a wild animal can know a specific human after months of sharing the same small piece of ground. Studies in squirrel cognition have confirmed that individual squirrels form lasting memory associations with specific humans, associations that can persist for years. The long look in those cases is recognition. She has filed away every time she has seen you. She has assembled a record of who you are in her terms, what you sound like, how you move, and whether you can be trusted. And the look is her checking that record against the version of you standing there right now. The next time a squirrel in your yard goes still and looks at you, stay. Do not move. Look back. Let it happen. Because what passes between you in those seconds is something older than language. Two living things in the same small patch of ground noticing each other. Not friendship exactly, not affection. Something quieter than either. The recognition that the world is shared, and that she, for reasons of her own, has decided you are part of it. If this story made you see your backyard differently, make sure to subscribe and join us for more fascinating wildlife mysteries. And tell us in the comments about the squirrel who has stared at you the longest and where you were when it happened. And tomorrow morning, take a look out your window. She will probably be there. She has been watching longer than you realized.